Today, we get to meet someone who has the incredible talent to entertain everyone he meets by becoming the lovable cartoon characters we all know and love. And I'm going to put an end to his madness. Hello, superstars, and welcome back to another episode of Chimichanga Superstar Podcast. If you're new, thank you so much. I'll pleasure you later. With me today is not Bryant, or Rosin, or Ginger, or any of the Chimmy crew. Yes, that's right, they've abandoned me. However, I have a guest. Guest, say your guesty name.
My guesty name is usually the name I go by, which is Alex Weitzman.
That is a horrible name. We need to rename you later.
Well, you know...
I'm thinking like Shadow Killer or something like really epic and legendary.
Well, I don't want to give away my Xbox Live name because I can't.
Alright, well, you know what? I lied. Alex works for me. Anyways, everyone, I guess I'm off to a weird start, which you're used to that because we are the most overrated podcast on the internet.
Yeah!
Yeah! We're going to go ahead and get the beers done early because I need to liquor up before my brain can actually functionality. Today, not we, because of reasons, I am drinking Lost Coast Brewery Stout, which has a label on the side. I don't feel like reading. Could you do that for me? I'm lazy.
Certainly. Lost Coast Brewery and Cafe, 617 4th Street, Eureka, California. This rich, robust stout is made with pale malted barley, oatmeal, roasted and chocolate malts, Pacific Northwest hops, crystal clear mountain water, and ale yeast.
Cherry. Hey!
Third time's the charm!
Yeah, so, that's popped. Moment of silence, hang on. It's a stout. So, if you couldn't guess, my guest, Alex Weitzman, is a talented young man in the form of sexual massage. I mean, wait, no, I'm sorry, that's your side talent. Tell everyone what you do.
I'm a voice actor.
Holy shit, you have no money.
That's true.
So, what do you voice act? What do you do?
Well, I've done some commercials, some animation stuff, some web animation most recently, that is, and some ADR. ADR is one of those weird acronyms in the voiceover universe that means two different things depending upon what you're doing with it. In what I did, it was additional dialogue recording, which is basically a bunch of extraneous crowd noises, sounds that they'll put in to the background of any number of feature films, live action or animated.
Wait, I think I recognize your voice now in something. Were you the lady at that one movie with the crowd and the lady said, "I'll suck your dick"?
I auditioned for that.
Oh.
But I didn't get it.
Did I bring up a sore topic?
I get over it. I get over it quick. You have to in this business.
As an apology, I will pour you a drink. Since you are not a carbonated beverage drinker, and beer is a carbonated beverage.
It's true.
I'm going to pour you this, and you're not allowed to ask what it is. Just drink it, and drink however much of it you're willing to drink. I don't know how much of this is strong. Fuck it. There. Drink that.
Alrighty, let's see what this is. Wow, that is the best elephant piss I've ever had.
You guessed it!
I'm good at this.
Actually, no, it's a sake. I told my girlfriend to get me something for you so you can enjoy the Chimmy experience, and it's got a fish on it. And it's
most Japanese products do.
The Tozai Junmai Living Jewel Premium Japanese Sake. And the label is all translated, so I'm not even going to bother. I'm really not going to bother. So yeah, I have very rarely had a bottle of sake in front of me. I've drank sake, but I haven't. You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna do this at Chimmy style. I've got a stout, and what are good in stouts? Glasses. I pour it into the glass. All right, everyone, hang on. This is science.
This is important, people.
This is not a chemistry change. This is a physical change. It's gone from bottle to glass. I'm gonna pretend that's science.
It's a form of science.
The empty bottle is set upon the table. The glass is set upon the table. The sake bottle is opened in pouring it into a shot glass.
Oh, I think I know where this is going.
And I am going to insert this, sir, if you'll take your pants off, into your rectum so you can get drunk the fastest.
Again.
Again. Actually, no, I'm kidding. This is the unfortunate byproduct of having a loving, sexy girlfriend. I am going to drop this into my beverage. It's going to foam up. In fact, I'm moving it away from the computer. And on air, Jimmy's first ever sake bomb. Sir, would you narrate, please?
Ladies and gentlemen, it's standing over the edge. It's wavering. It's wavering. Here it goes. Oh, my Lord. It's brewing and it's bubbling and fizzing and it's going down his gullet. He's working on it. He's going as fast as he can, but it's maybe too much for him. But no. He's holding on. He's holding fast. And he's working as hard as he can, even to the point of possible true manliness. Oh, my God. It's still going. You would not believe it if you were not sitting in my seat, which you're not, so believe it anyway. And there it goes!
Oh my God! I can't believe I just did that on air. Well,
nicely done. Nicely done.
Holy shit, I just sake bombed on air the entire thing, and I look like I pissed myself.
Best bomb to hit Japan since some other time.
Yeah, some other time. I do believe there's actually shadows on the wall behind me now.
Exactly.
Last time I saw that happen was when I had a bunch of baked beans at a barbecue joint. Oh my God, that was a very delicious stout that went down my throat before I could taste it. Hang on. This in urgent news. Holy shit, that was a lot of carbonation.
And that's why I don't drink. Actually, my whole carbonation thing literally predates my adult perspective. I just never liked it even as a kid.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I mean, I was never given soda as a child. My mother never drinks soda, so there's that element of it. But even then, it's not like you do what your mother does all the time. It's just, I never liked the feeling. I don't know.
God, I hope I don't do what my mother does all the time. My mother was an artist, and she was fantastic at everything she does. She made beautiful things. She made the life a wonderful thing to live, the world a wonderful place to be. I just want to be an asshole, and I want this beautiful microphone to take all of my asshole into it. As opposed to the opposite with a lot of people. They want to take things into their asshole. I want to dump my asshole on... I'm going to rethink my words here.
I was wondering where you were going with this.
I don't think I was really going anywhere. I think I'm still suffering from all the belching that wants to come out of my face hole.
I know. There is a true chemical reaction happening somewhere deep inside you.
Man, I was talking about science. No, I'm really sciencing the fuck up.
Science the hell out of that, Matt Damon.
So, we're going to have to send a rescue team for him in my belly. So let's go back to your history. So you've done this for a while now?
Yeah. I mean, I've been pursuing acting for a long time. As far as, I went to college to be an actor and figured out partway through my collegiate career.
There's a college for that?
There's a college for acting, yeah. Most places offer a theater degree in terms of what...
Oh, shit. I thought that was just a surgeon.
Well, they try to give you an actual, education as well. And I worked as hard against that as possible. Because I was a really good student in school leading up to college, because they tell you have to get great grades so you can get into college and not have it cost too much. And then I got to college and I was like, well, now I got there. Why do I need good grades anymore? Fuck that.
Fuck grades. Well, I'm more curious as to how far it goes back to your acting career. Have you actually gotten into anything that you're proud of?
Well, I mean, the actual professional acting career is still kind of on its way up. I just got my Los Angeles voiceover agent this year. So yay. And yay, so, indeed. But it's a long process, and everybody has their own weird, route into this industry. Everybody kind of stumble bums into it. Some people have been pursuing it from the day they were born. Some people fall ass backwards into it because they're like, hey, you do funny voices all the time. Maybe you should be a voiceover actor. And they're like, that's a thing? So it's kind of like that. And so the nature of voiceover, in terms of, especially now, the way the industry is right now, there's a lot of people trying to get in. It's still a hard business to break into because just a very large majority of the work is going to a small minority of the workforce. But that's not something that causes any bitterness in me. It doesn't make me resentful of those who are doing it because, one, they're fucking excellent. Two, they're the nicest people on the planet. Every single, major successful voiceover actor that I've met is, I mean, without exception, some of the best people in the entertainment field best people in life I've actually met. So it's one of those things where every single time I meet somebody in the entertainment industry of the voiceover side of things, I think to myself, God, I'm in the right side of things.
Well, that being said, what got you into wanting to do this exactly?
Well, I mean, I was always fond of animation.
Do you actually want to do this?
Yeah, absolutely.
You're not compelled?
Well, compelled as an artist is, sure. I feel a deep personal need, I suppose, I guess.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. But yeah, it's one of those things that I was interested in acting first and foremost in college, and then halfway through my years at Chapman University, which is where I got my BFA in theater performance, I realized, you know what? Of the three forms of acting, film, stage, and voice was what I wanted to focus on.
How much time goes into that exactly? I mean, to my impression, you always kind of get born with a voice you have. For instance, I have a very noticeable overbite, and where I'm surprised I actually talk into a mic, because anytime I say shh, I hear shh, like a librarian desperately trying to jerk off into your tears of wanting to talk to your friend.
It sounds like you were leading into a Sean Connery impression.
Oh, yes, I would like you to shut the fuck up.
Shamir's is my lucky day.
Speaking of which,
I'll take the rapist for 100.
Ooh, I like that movie. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and pop another beer because I need to sober up from that sake bomb.
There you go.
Yes. So
I'll take another sip of my elephant piss while I'm
your elephant piss, your Japanese elephant piss. Let me.
That's good urine.
Let me go ahead and pour my beer here really quick. Oh, look at that head.
Nice.
That's the worst pour I've ever done. You could hear that hitting the fluid. Anyways, as we were talking about voice natural versus unnatural. How do you train your voice?
Well, I mean, part of it's having a good ear, honestly. Just listening for things and hearing what makes up a voice. What's the timbre? What's the pitch? Is there an accent? Are there particular...
Timbre is wood.
There's that. Timbre is also... the tone of the voice. But also, it's worth noting that I don't do a zillion different voices. I have my voice. I have one voice.
You have a very characteristic voice. You have a very charismatic voice as well.
Well, thank you.
It's kind of arousing me, I'm not going to lie, in a very no-homo way. No hetero, no homo, whatever. It's there.
There you go. And actually, one of the most exciting moments I'd ever had several years ago when my voiceover demo got into the hands of Andrea Romano, who is a very significant voice director and casting director who you would know behind Animaniacs, Pinky and the Brain, Batman Animated Series,
Animaniacs,
Avatar: Last Airbender, The New Turtles show.
Just punched me right in the nostalgia.
SpongeBob SquarePants. I mean,
all right, we're done now. You ruined it. You ruined it.
Sorry, but no, I got my demo ended up in her hands. It's a long story as to how that happened. But one of the things that she said about my demo when I was actually talking to her, and I got a phone call from Andrea Romano. This is when I was still working at Starbucks. I got the phone call while I was still on duty and ran into the back room at my Starbucks and was like just huddled up into a little corner, like, oh my God, I'm talking to Andrea Romano. Oh my God, I'm talking to Andrea Romano. And so she said that I have a voice with character.
Ooh.
As opposed to just having doing a character voice. And that is something that if you've watched any of the behind the scenes stuff that Andrea Romano's done on things like Batman and Justice League and such, she says that's what she looks for. She looks for voices with character. So that was really exciting.
So that's why she chose Tim and Mark for Joker and Batman, I'm guessing. Because, I'm sorry, when we're going to talk really, really attached classic voices in animated history, you cannot get past the animated Batman Adventures voice choices.
You can't get past the Joker. No. The Joker's the finest voice this world's ever seen.
There are memes all over the internet. There are people all over talking about how we have Jared Leto's new Joker with the new Psycho Joker.
Right, exactly.
No matter what anyone says, I'm still looking forward to seeing it.
Oh, absolutely.
Then you have Heath Ledger's legendary portrayal of his version of the Joker. And then you got clearly the old Adam West Joker.
Cesar Romero.
Everything you want in the world. You got all these Jokers that play different roles. The true Joker will always be Mark Hamill's voice.
Yes.
To me. Because he just played it's not chaotic. It's not anarchy. It's not rebellion. It's I don't care.
One thing is that it's an incredibly facile voice, and one that he came up with, and that's part of just because Mark himself is such a great actor. Mark was able to take the vocal creation of what he had with the Joker and make it fit so many forms. It could be menacing, it could be gleeful and silly, it could be, kind of dopey sometimes, it could be truly monstrous to a level that really gets under your skin in a horrifying way. He was brilliant at that. And there are some voices that you create that don't give you a lot of leeway. It's like if you're doing a particular type of voice, it has a certain cadence to it, or reaches to a certain extreme of your register, your range. You're not going to be able to do as much with it because it just doesn't give you a lot of wiggle room. But for whatever reason, that voice from Mark gives him a universe of range, total universe, and so he could do anything and does do everything. Absolutely with that, and he'll still always be my favorite Joker. One of my favorite personal vocal exercises is something I call the Three Jokers. Because
Jokers.
Because as you just heard, I do a Mark. I also do a Jack Nicholson. Those are my balloons. He stole my balloons! Why didn't somebody tell me he had one of those things? And then, of course, there's Heath. I believe whatever doesn't kill you simply makes you stranger.
Well,
and those, I like to take those three and have them switch roles.
Yeah.
Have them switch materials. So it's like, can you imagine Heath Ledger in the Tim Burton? Can you imagine Mark Hamill as the Dark Knight? Oh my God,
that's crazy. I actually got a nerd boner thinking about Heath Ledger replacing Jack.
Right.
Oh my God, that just blew my mind. I never would have thought of that until now.
So that's the deal. Until Grissom resurfaces, I'm acting president, and I say, starting with this centennial celebration, we run this city into the ground.
Why don't we hear this from Joker?
Yeah, and what's with that stupid grin?
Life's been good to me.
That's fantastic. That was fantastic. No, I've never thought about to switch them around, and now all of a sudden my entire history is now fun for me because I can play with it.
Exactly.
I'm now going to walk through and from Adam West on, walk through these and just rethink how they would.
I would love. I mean, I'm looking forward to Leto's performance. I would love to see Leto's performance, and I would just as equally love to hear John DiMaggio do his Joker version of whatever it is that Jared Leto's going to do in Suicide Squad.
So to you, he's just adding us another Joker to the pool.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, that's the thing. When Mark's still your favorite, it doesn't threaten you that somebody else is doing another version.
No, not at all.
It's not a threat to you. It's just, wow, hey, go ahead. Certainly, give it a try.
Maybe
you'll be second best.
Geek culture needs to drop that so bad. They need to stop saying, no, it's not mine. Well, okay, Mass Effect is the biggest improv thing in the world. They made headcanon the biggest thing, I think. And that's kind of where things need to go, and things need to be accepted. That's where it is. Right. Even with the comics nowadays, there's a big political conspiracy about how, Sam Wilson's Falcon, Sam Wilson, is the black man who played the Falcon, is now Captain fucking America. Get over it. There's no racism here. There's no political things here. Of course not. They took a young man from the Bronx who had a really rough upbringing, and the writer himself came out and said, look, I'm going to be honest. I tried to dive into the mind of someone who had the life and upbringing he did, and I thought that man would completely embrace socialistic behaviors.
Sure. I mean, people tend to forget that two of the two most obvious American symboled superheroes, Superman and Captain America, have always been really, really leftist by nature. I mean, Superman back in the original Siegel-Schuster comics was out there going around. He was a New Deal Democrat by nature. He was going around knocking off any of those big business guys who were trying to
Superman versus Lex Luthor. Let's just
by sheer nature.
Yeah,
Lex Luthor is Donald Trump without the embarrassment factor.
I kind of like to think he's more of an evil Steve Jobs or the gentleman who runs Tesla.
Yeah, there you go.
Without a doubt, that man's an evil genius. That man's a Bond villain. The internet is right about him.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding. We don't know about it because we don't know who the real Bond is. We have these actors instead.
Right.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I genuinely believe James Bond is a real person. The movies are a cover-up. Just accept it.
Well, that's what I always thought about Men in Black.
The Men in Black is a cover-up?
Yeah, Men in Black's a cover-up. Totally.
Michael Jackson is an alien. I knew it.
Of course.
But let's go a little further than Superman. Superman is an illegal alien in this planet.
Absolutely.
Did his parents...
No. Superman's an anchor baby.
An anchor baby. Ooh, Jonathan Kent, you almost got away. You could have got with that hot redhead down at the bar that makes that really, really great old-fashioned with the apple twist on there. But instead, you wind up on a farm with what's her name?
Martha.
What's her name?
I don't know why both Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne have mothers named Martha. It's just a common name of the era.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it is.
It's not like it's the same woman and who faked her death in the alley to go live a life.
Oh, wait a minute. And I'm now unprofessional. My phone just went off on air. Congratulations to the power of editing. That was at 21-something minutes. Oh, this isn't live. I don't need to say that. Anyways, man, seriously, if Martha Kent was Martha Wayne, black hair, no, not biological, it doesn't work. Oh, there's got to be a connection there.
Maybe. I mean,
strong surge for justice.
Well, here's the thing. If she faked her death, then Joe Chill was in on it.
Oh my god, the chills down my spine. No, actually,
I thought you were just suggesting a sitcom. Meet the Chills.
Meet the Chills.
Here comes Joe.
The proper amount of money, he'll pretend to kill your parents. Well, your dad anyways.
And here's Sarah Chill, always disapproving of everything that Joe's up to.
Oh, God. She's just so rebellious. No, yeah, I find it funny that they decide they need to go so far into the minds of these characters when they read them. But the writer's just like, I want to give a good story. Right. I want people to like this story. No, it's like, that's why. What was his motivation when he decided to get that candy bar from the vending machine? Why would he do that? Because he doesn't do candy. He's not superpowered. He needs to stay in shape. No, he wanted a fucking candy bar. Get over it. Sam Wilson wanted a candy bar. Tim Drake can do a backflip while eating M&Ms. Get over it. It's not real.
The fact of the matter is, I think that a lot of fans feel the need to exert some sort of ownership over the material.
Yeah.
And because of that, that's where a lot of the nitpicking and over obsession with certain details and continuity hounds work. And that, good for you. I mean, somewhere there's a script supervisor job just waiting for you.
Yeah.
That's where your kind of skills are really, really valuable.
Blizzard Studios hired a head of canon. So come on, just be nerdy enough, you'll get a job, exactly. I guess. It's funny you say that because we are kind of in an era that's a really big deal. We're at the time when for the first time since God knows how long, well, we all know long. Shut up, Christian. Since the original trilogy came out, we're finally getting the first real sequel to the original trilogy.
I know.
Star Wars for those assholes who don't seem to get it. Just Jesus Christ. And everyone is taking these trailers and picking every split second apart. Like, someone found a Mandalorian sign in the tabards in that one scene where the robot's walking out, and Han Solo and the other kids going. And then finding, like, random things, throwback to Anakin's death trap that he rides on in Episode 1.
Oh, yeah.
At the pod racer. And then, all these symbols. And then my thought on that is, look, they're just trying to give you something fun. They're giving you Easter eggs.
Not only that, but I mean, at this point, releasing that, I mean, they know what they're doing. That's almost like waving something shiny in front of them.
It's also J.J. Abrams, the same man who did Star Trek 1 and 2.
Right.
And this man fought tooth and nail to convince us that Khan was not in the second movie. Every time someone says, is this Khan? No. And he says his name.
No, it's John Harrison.
Yeah. But And then, of course, we all fucking looked at him and said, no, it's fucking Khan. And then the movie goes on, it's like, he's a super soldier. It's Khan! He's got this. It's Khan! He's very intelligent. It's Khan! My name is Khan. Yeah, but fucking I told you! And then J.J. Abrams sitting there in the walking to the bank with your fucking money being like, yeah, I lied. You lose. I win. And I'm fine with this.
Sure.
Because
I feel like at this point, a lot of creators have to lie because everybody's so savvy all the freaking time.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's like even people like me. I watched the Star Wars trailer like 20,000 times. I watched the Avengers trailers over and over again to the point where I practically saw the movie. And I'm going to be honest. In my honest opinion, I need to stop doing this. I know I'm going to do this on YouTube for a living shortly, but I need to stop because I do believe it's bringing the movies down for me. Back when the first trilogy came out, people just saw Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker, Harrison Ford as Han Solo.
And doing so much of that kind of personal pre-hype is making it impossible for you to just invest in it in that kind of innocent way.
Avengers 2. Was Avengers 2 a shitty movie?
No, it was not a shitty movie.
Was it a fantastic, amazing movie that changed the world forever?
No, it had structural issues.
However, we all thought that it was supposed to be such, right?
Right.
Why? Because the trailers were amazing. Everyone loved the first one so much. We stopped caring. We stopped caring if we're just supposed to go to the movie and enjoy it. A little bit of popcorn, a soda, and watch that fucking movie.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, but I do think there's a purpose to criticizing structural issues. A movie like Age of Ultron felt like such a middle chapter to me.
I agree.
It didn't it didn't really initiate any major conflicts. It didn't really conclude any major conflicts. It was carrying on stuff that was already being brought up in Iron Man 3 and the Troy the Thor Dark World.
It feels like it was the Iron Man 2 of the Phase 2 of the saga. Because
in that respect,
Iron Man 2 basically was, hey, guess what? There's all this other stuff that's going on. That's what Iron Man 2 in the first. For those who don't really follow the Avengers movies, you kind of have Iron Man 1 came out, and then you had the follow-up with the Hulk, and then Iron Man 2 came out, which is really just kind of an excuse to say, look at all that's going on outside of these movies that connects everything.
That's funny. My take on Iron Man 2 is it was almost their way of saying we don't really need to do a demon in the bottle storyline.
You know what? I like that. I continue with this
because Iron Man 2 features Tony Stark so self-destructive about his own sense of mortality that we didn't need to do a whole alcoholism storyline. And to that extent, I don't feel like that's where they're going in these movies. They're not going to do a straight demon in a bottle adaptation. They almost can't in a way at this point because it's lesser issue than the
Demon in a Bottle came out at a time where, for reference, Demon in a Bottle is a Iron Man arc in the comics in which Tony Stark was too much of an alcoholic and quit being Iron Man. Right. Pass it on to Rhodey, who is War Machine. For again those dumb shits that keep listening to my show and don't read these things. Go read your comic history. Goddamn, Wikipedia exists. Anyways, but that existed in a time when there wasn't a whole bunch of meetings. There weren't online things. It wasn't considered a medical issue. It was just like stop drinking.
Right.
Well, nowadays we have...
We're kind of coming out from the Mad Men era when everybody did drink all the time.
Exactly. What we have now in an modern era, when that movie came out, is you saw him not only drinking alcohol at parties and events, you saw him also drinking the kale things, drinking the things to cleanse himself, which is an era we live in, is to constantly keep yourself clean, go on get in the elliptical.
He wasn't going to be able to be a superhero if he didn't have some element of control over his personal health. And yet, so that in that respect, what Iron Man 2, I think at least tried to do, was tell a story about him breaking down, not because of alcoholism, but because he's so freaked out about what's going to happen to him. Because if you remember in Iron Man 2, and it's been a while since I've watched it, but as I recall, he gets all freaked out about what's going on with the shrapnel in his heart. Yeah. And that's really the cause of his personal angst and conflict.
It was the, sorry for geeking out here, it was the material he used to power that was infecting his flesh, which for some reason infects him in a circuit board, but we'll just ignore that because it looked cool.
Whatever. Yeah.
It did look cool. Fuck off, people. Come on. It's movies.
And actually, I still agree that Iron Man 2 is a comparably weak movie. I thought Iron Man 2's weakness was its villains.
Oh god, here's where I disagree. I think it had amazing villains that were underutilized. I think the actors portrayed the villains.
I think the actors were excellent, but I will say this. Well, firstly, it's a good comparison to compare the villains of the first Iron Man to the villains of Iron Man 2. Iron Man 1 has two villains, essentially. Obadiah Stane,
Yes.
and it has Raza, the proto-Mandarin, the guy who's running the Ten Rings bunch that kidnapped Tony in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So that he's kind of as much of a villain, at least to the extent that Justin Hammer is a villain in Iron Man 2.
They were very world-changing.
Right.
They're capable of world-changing
Right.
events.
So those are your two characters in Iron Man 1. Iron Man 2 obviously is Justin Hammer and Vanko, Whiplash. And to that extent, Raza and Hammer are comparable, and Stane and Vanko are comparable in that both Raza and Hammer get betrayed over the course of the film by those main villains, who then go on to do whatever the hell they're going to do to Tony. Raza worked better than Hammer, and the reason Raza worked better than Hammer was because even in his small, comparably underwritten role, he was menacing. He cut a menacing figure. That actor did a good job making you think that this is a fucker who's smart enough to see past Tony and wants to get things done.
I agree.
And almost ruined the whole creating the Mark I Iron Man suit in the first place. And then, very surprisingly, gets completely paralyzed by Stane in that one moment.
Now, I will say that Hammer was one of the least capable and weakest villains in the entire franchise history.
Of course.
He over-evaluated himself and thought he was way too capable. Everyone he came across owned his ass. Freaking Pepper Potts owned him.
Yep.
Vanko owned him.
And I love the hell out of Sam Rockwell. I adore Sam Rockwell.
He's wonderful.
If you haven't seen Moon,
my God,
the movie that Sam Rockwell made in 2009, Moon. If you have not seen that movie, go see it now.
I walked out of that movie feeling lonely and paranoid.
Right? No, it's the sort of movie. It was so good that it stayed in my brain. It was like, I don't know, it like possessed me in a way. It was so good.
Possessed you?
Yeah. I mean, it was such a great movie, and it had great voiceover in it too from Kevin Spacey.
Is this a feeling you kind of get on a regular basis?
Well, great movies are great movies.
I mean, no pressure. Just a question.
Not really.
Okay.
But anyway, but Sam Rockwell, I love him.
Yes, on back.
Sam Rockwell, he's great, but I thought it was a mistake to play him as such a dope, basically, because you can see the betrayal coming a mile away.
For me, I agree with that. You see the betrayal, but I also think that we live in an era where everyone loves the twist. I don't think it needed to be a surprise. I think they were trying, but failed a little bit to deliver a comedic villain that we didn't need, and instead we have the villain we didn't expect.
Well, then there's Vanko, and then Vanko, I don't think he was ill-conceived. I think everything about Vanko was well-conceived, but I do think he was slightly underwritten. In particular, they didn't complete the arc of his conflict.
Agreed.
They established the idea that Vanko feels like Howard Stark stole his father's technology.
I honestly believe.
And then Nick Fury comes back later and says, no, other way around. Vanko tried to steal stuff from Stark. We never get the scene where Vanko, Whiplash, has to deal with what Tony's learned. At no point is he confronted with that, whether to deny it, whether to brush it off, whether to present proof against it. At no point does Vanko have to deal with the idea that perhaps his father is not what he thinks.
I was so in love with the portrayal of this character, which was a hybrid of two different comic characters. We had Whiplash and Crimson Dynamo from the comics. But I was so in love with this actor's portrayal of him that I genuinely believed that end area where it was the drones that were attacking, they should have left it with just a shitload of drones and not had him go in. If he just disappeared and left him as just a loose something loose in the wind that we had no closure. It would have been
interesting, but I can't imagine them getting away with that.
I thought that would have been, well, we're now in a stage where we expect everything to carry on.
Right.
I think that would have been a brilliant gamble on Marvel Studios' point. I really do.
Possibly.
Also, I do believe that last scene where he's like, I'm in armor, but I do the same whip thing, is just, no. Yeah, you failed. You failed so goddamn hard you got blown the fuck up by two guys giving the most epic high five ever. Just saying. And if you die by high five, that's horrible.
That's true.
That's
true. That's the worst way to die.
So-
No. Low five is the worst way to die.
Oh, yeah, low five. Because it could potentially hit you in the nuts.
Right, exactly.
And you get your nuts between two hands.
Yeah.
And you didn't pay the ladies for the hands. It's two dudes.
Exactly.
And you're not gay. Oh, shit. Anyways, do you want more fish?
I would love more fish. Let's do this thing.
Fish being sake, since you can't see what we're doing. And I'm just a little bit more into my second beer. I'm just going to keep drinking this. I'm happy. Man, we geeked out in Iron Man all of a sudden.
I know, it's true. But that's easy for me. I geek out on a drop of a hat. I suppose I could get back to talking about professional shit.
About professional shit. Okay, let's
Usually what.
So you mentioned the that you now have the option of having, or not the option, you finally gained a voice-over agent?
Yes.
How is that different from having an agent as in the acting biz, being on camera?
Well, you mean like in the live action biz? Well,
yes.
Well, okay. I mean, in the sense, it's the same job ultimately. And an agent. Here's the weird thing about the entertainment industry, especially for actors. An agent works for you. You don't work for an agent. An agent works for you. But because the vast majority of the work is being, sent to agents who are currently representing people, the power is in the hand of the agent to choose who they want to represent.
Okay.
So, by its nature, and that's to the extent that makes sense, because there's so many people who want representation, but so many people who do not deserve representation, who are not good enough to really be regularly auditioning. They haven't gotten to that point yet. So the agent has the luxury of picking and choosing people that they feel can work with them, they feel can book jobs, can make money for both themselves and the agent. That's how that works. And so that's true of all forms of agents, not even just acting agents. Any agent, by their nature, I said it's as if it's an it. Any agent, by his or her nature, is looking to represent somebody who they feel their work will, the agent's work in getting that person out there will have profitable results.
Okay.
So, it can be an uphill battle because you're trying to make yourself better, make yourself more and more ready to be out there into the industry, and an agent can say, I don't have I'm seeing where you're ready for it, or for that matter, they can say, oh, you're great, but I have like 3 or 4 people already like you, and I just don't have room in my roster for another. So that's another aspect that comes into play. Modern
day versus old day, we just show up at like casting calls. How much more difficult is it nowadays? Because in my mind, as a guy who's a GD podcast, oh man, I'm sorry, goddamn podcaster, I've been spending far too much time around Professor Elliot. I was on his show, and he asked me to cuss less, so I cussed more. And now I'm on my show with the thought of I need to cuss less. So, again, I'm a goddamn podcaster, and I don't know how to even talk to an agent. Someone says, hi, I'm a podcasting agent. I'm like, you're wasting your time, sir. In this day where we have the internet, you can throw your own things all over the place.
Absolutely. But the distinction is, while you can throw your own material all over the place, you have to be your own auteur. You have to be generating your own material. I love being a voice actor, and I write too, but the fact of the matter is, at a certain point, generating your own material is its own form of investment. And if you want to focus on this particular art, the art of performance, then by its nature, it's a mercenary job. It's the sort of job where you spend as much time as possible simply putting yourself out there saying, I'm available, use me. I'm available, use me. Okay. And if they want you, then they hire you and you do the work.
That's essentially how I tried to get into the dating pool in college. I'm available, use me.
Exactly. and so, the agent is still a crucial aspect of the industry. There's so much voiceover now that's going over the internet on smaller scales and in different areas, and obviously the pay-to-play sites like voice123.com or voices.com. Those are very controversial.
Mild shout-out.
With the, mild shout-out, but I'm pointing out that they're a little on the controversial side these days.
How so? What's controversial about them then?
Well, because to be a talent, an actually auditioning talent on these sites, you have to pay.
Really?
You have to pay for a membership.
How much are we talking about?
We're talking $300 to $400.
Oh, yep, nope, fuck those guys. You know what? You're assholes, and I think your website should go down in flames, and all of you should get gonorrhea.
And then therein lies the problem. That's just for, like, general access to the auditions. Then they have started coming up with, like, premium memberships and ultra-premium memberships that give you, like, first crack at the auditions that are available kind of thing. And that's extremely controversial in the voiceover universe because obviously the general mentality is, perhaps on an idealistic perspective, the job should go to the best person for the job, not the person who had enough scratch to throw down that they'll get a chance to read their shit for the client first. And that's one of the things is that a lot of these sites allow people who are the actual clients who are generating the work, the people who are looking for commercials to be done or small web-based animation or often industrial work, where, like if you've gone to work and your boss sits you down and you have to watch a video telling you how to do this new whatever it is that they're doing, there's a voiceover in that video. Somebody got paid to do that voiceover, and that's an industrial work. That's neither a commercial, it's not a television show.
Do they get paid well for those little things, or is it... Are there really particular jobs that actually make money?
The way that a lot of these kinds of jobs, like if you're making money on like a Voice 123 sort of thing, these people spend innumerable amounts of time just sitting at their desk, doing quick reads into a blue snowball right on the desk, in a way much like we're doing, and just
giggity,
and just zooming through as many auditions as possible. And if they nail it, they nail it. But it's easier to be a hobbyist doing it that way, as opposed to somebody who really, not to be an artist about it, but studies the craft.
Well, there's easier, but is there payout in that easy going way?
It can. Some people have made it work for them, but it's so, shall we say, circumstantial in terms of how people are able to make that kind of living. And so to that extent, it still isn't how people who are really identifiable as voice actors as a career make their money.
Okay. So it's kind of like YouTube in the sense of you got an idea. Right. It's an entertaining idea. It made you and your friends laugh. But you go and record it, you film it, you go put it on the internet, but 20 million people just did the same thing.
In a way, and though in this case, instead of it being YouTube, imagine that you don't even have the chance to have it be shown. It's like you're submitting your YouTube video to a particular guy who says, okay, this is the one I want to put up. Oh,
I hate that guy already.
So there you go. And then, of course, the inherent problem is that if you don't, since the clients are the ones submitting these works to these pay-to-play sites themselves, they may not know what they want. They may not know how to direct an actor. They may not know how to describe in a discernible way the nature of the material, the nature of what the voice are looking for. Mm-hmm. So it's a complete fucking crapshoot. Whereas comparably, if they hire a casting director or a voice director, that person knows how to talk to actors, how to describe the nature of the work that they want, and you will get a better product. You get a better read. You get a better sounding whatever it is that you're recording, because you're not Joe Schmo industrial guy who says like, oh, I need a voice to play over this footage that we have to show at our company meeting. It's somebody who actually says, okay, well, we're looking for a sound of this particular quality. And so it's just that kind of professionalism element. The deprofessionalization of a lot of voiceover that happens in the internet is unfortunate. And it devalues the work, unfortunately.
It takes a driven person to really kind of earn it this way, isn't it? It sounds like it's really too hard to just... Oh, I've got a good voice. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to attack like a fucking Mickey Mouse or whatever. And then
you got to have something inside.
Yeah, you got to apparently, grease a few wheels and suck a few dicks. But it sounds like you really have too much competition and too much of an avalanche coming against you anyways. Aside from, it sounds like you and a million people are going up a hill with an avalanche, and you're also you have TNT up your assholes. Sorry.
Well, I mean, not every day.
Not every day?
Not every day. I mean, sometimes you got to get some preparation H.
One day you had a good BM, TNT came out, and bam! Everyone behind you died.
But the fact of the matter, I mean, look, one of the first things they say to you at Chapman University when you're a theater major is, if there's anything else you can do, go do that. You know.
So they basically discourage you from doing your dream.
Yes, they do.
That sounds like being a psych major. Oh my god. That's what I got every day when I was in college. It's, oh man, you know what? You can help so many people. You could do so much great for your life and your future families. But you should probably just get a job you can depend on, because this is not going to be successful. Only a select few. I'm looking at this teacher and being like, I really want to take that American flag behind you and wave it patriotically.
See, the
behind
irony
you
is,
while I scream, die!
The irony is, from my perspective as an actor, I look at the concept of like, oh, being a psychology major. That sounds like a solid thing. because that's a sellable skill in the universe.
Okay, so Chimmy listeners, you can get a little history on me. I didn't stick with just psychology as a major. I went as a landscape engineer major. Decided this is boring as shit. Went to a seminar and thought, oh, learning the way our brains think. I like it. Went and changed my major.
Right.
This is all in my first year of college. And then I went to another seminar. By the way, this is the last seminar outside of my field I went to. Right. I went to a neuro-linguistic programming seminar, which is basically how to communicate without talking. And, so your eyebrows are raised. You're actually interested in what I'm saying. So I'm going to go ahead and look a little disinterested with my shoulders and turn away from you. Or, I'm feeling really insecure, but I don't want them to know it. I'm going to take my hands, throw them to the side, spread my legs, and you think I'm completely confident with the shit I'm spewing at you right now. And I was like, oh my god, I want to learn to see what people are saying with their bodies. So I changed my major to neurolinguistics. Mm-hmm. And then I realized that I've changed my majors twice in first year in college, and then I changed it without actually doing any research to how much shit you have to learn. And they keep saying you have two options. You can work into the entertainment industry and try to teach people how to act, or you can work with the DEA and find out who actually does in fact have the narcotics up their asshole. So we'll save the rest for a future date, because I made a decision, and it's quite a story.
Cliffhanger!
Oh! Shimmy cliffhanger. Like, that matters. Before we move on, that was a very depressing story you told me, so I'm going to open another beer and pour it. Anyways, continue on with the world of talking into microphones as people other than you, because they might be inside of you somewhere. How does that start? Where did you decide I'm going to talk? Was it just like one day you're just talking in tongues and...
Wow.
Like, out of nowhere, you're just like, oh, I have a different voice.
I guess as a child, when I was a little baby, I apparently went around saying rugga, 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 rugga. I don't know.
So you did talk in tongues that were unintelligible and non-decipherable by living human beings?
Well, other than my mother, I'm sure she figured out what I was saying.
And what would you say rugga, rugga, rugga means?
Oh, you don't want to know.
Were you booty scooting on the carpet with your butt full of poop?
Maybe.
Oh, look at that. Some much better pour than the last one.
Yeah, well, much better.
Look at that. I've learned.
Progress!
I'm sorry, my last beer I poured directly after a sake cocky bomb. That was not something I plan to do again for a while on air.
Oh,
anyways, moment of silence, sir.
Cheers.
So, alright. Curiosity aside. Getting started. What invested you in this world?
Well, again, my fondness for it, but you know what? I should also point out Comic Book the Movie. I don't know if you've heard of it.
I have not. Somehow.
Comic Book the
Movie. Just on title alone, I should have jerked off to this twice.
Comic Book the Movie is a mockumentary that came out in, I want to say, like January of 2004.
Mockumentary, so it's more true than most documentaries.
Right.
Gotcha.
It is a mockumentary that was written by, and by written by, I put that in quotes because most of it was improv, but written by, directed by, and starring Mark Hamill, who has already been mentioned in this podcast already.
Yep, I'd have jerked off a lot to this.
It basically is a mockumentary about this old-fashioned comic fan of a non-existent Golden Age hero named Commander Courage. And is getting and Mark came up with this entire history of Commander Courage, who
As Mark does.
Right.
To my knowledge, Mark has so much back history to his characters every time.
And so he came up with the whole story of where this character went and how he traversed over the eras of comicdom. And then eventually the character got rebooted into a dark, gritty, modern reboot named Codename Courage. And now the movie studios are interested in making a Codename Courage movie. And since Mark's character, Donald Swan, is like the biggest fan of Commander Courage on like the internet and fanzines and stuff like that, the movie studio reaches out to Don Swan and asks him to like be a part of their movie making process, and in particular to go down to the San Diego Comic-Con that year and accept like an award on behalf of the creator, who is obviously long since dead, Jackson Whitney. And of course Don Swan is interested in participating, but in particular he's trying to like influence the movie executives to go away from the Codename Courage thing and do Commander Courage instead, because that's his jazz. He's more about the original Golden Age than the new gritty reboot.
Okay.
That's the plot of the movie, and they all end up going down to the San Diego Comic-Con from there. The significance of what this has to do with my voiceover
that's where I was kind of going to this. Is what the fuck does that have to do with the question I asked?
Here's the significance. Everybody in the movie that's not like making like a cameo as themselves, like Kevin Smith is in the movie, Stan Lee's in the movie, Bruce Campbell's in the movie.
Kevin fucking Smith, that man.
They're all in the movie themselves, but in terms of playing all the fictional characters that are part of the plot of the movie, they're all played by voice actors. So you got to see on camera people like Billy West and Jess Harnell and Laurie Allen and Tom Kenny and Gary Owens and all these people.
And all those other names, I have no idea who you're talking about.
Like, if I were to start listing their resumes, I guarantee you would know who I was talking about.
I would nerd boner up.
Totally. Well, I said Tom Kenny. Well, Tom Kenny is SpongeBob. I said Billy West. Billy West is...
Okay, you lost me at the first one. We're done here. Moving on. Everyone knows I have this deep hatred for that. I think SpongeBob, and this is not to be offensive to the creator, I think SpongeBob unintentionally started a trend of what cartoons are nowadays, which all these overly be overly random and weird and snappy and stupid.
Well, I'll impress you instead by going a little different then. Tom Kenny is also the voice back in the day from Rocko's Modern Life of Heifer Wolf.
All right, I've got my lube and my tissues ready. Continue.
Right. Billy West, voice of Stimpy, and then eventually Ren of Ren and Stimpy, both of them.
All right,
also,
my dick is out.
Half the cast of Futurama, basically. Fry, Zoidberg, Professor. Good news, everyone!
Yeah.
He does Richard Nixon, he does Zap Brannigan. I have a very sexy learning disability. Kif, what do I call it?
No pants.
Sexlexia.
Sexlexia. That sounds like a man who does not quite understand how to work his way around the clitoris. Which, by the way, I'm going to throw...
a fair description of Zap Brannigan.
let me throw a little knowledge out there for that is completely way off topic. Mm-hmm. I had a conversation with someone at one point asking, why do men, when you first get with them, not know what to do in bed? It's because it's your goddamn fault. Every time you wind up with a new young lady, their clitoris is like you're in high school with a brand new locker. The combination is completely different. And... You still have your old locker combination in your mind, so muscle memory alone has you going to do that.
Right.
But you have to stop before you do it to do the new combination, and you need to do it a bunch of times until you get the combination down. And then finally, she's going to go ahead and start talking in tongues, and Donald Duck's going to come out of her mouth, and then, things happen. You can relate.
Sure. Not Donald Duck, but maybe other ducks.
Daffy. Perhaps.
There you go.
Okay, so...
Absolutely!
Okay, so Daffy is inside of you.
I suppose Daffy has always been inside of me. Certainly.
Always. Since youth.
Yeah, I know.
Have you had this checked out?
No, because, my insurance won't cover that.
Who else is in you?
Right now?
Yes, right now. Between you and me, who else is in the room with us, so to speak? Hypothetically, of course, hypothetically.
If you're asking how many voices I do, I have legitimately not counted.
Not counted.
I have not counted.
You are the Nero of cartoon voices, potentially. Would you say that? Is that a safe way to go about it?
As in, I'm fiddling while Rome burns?
As in, you have Minnie inside of you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
Okay, so you this is admittance.
I guess.
All right, okay. Moving on. We'll get to the
right.
story. I'm gonna do something. Just ignore it. Just ignore it for a little bit. Keep talking. So we were talking about things,
Okay,
stuff and things.
worrying me a little bit, but all right.
All right.
Okay, well, whatever. Comic book the movie. So
Comic book the movie.
So all these voice actors are in the movie, and that was really exciting to me because I was already an animation nerd and already a bit of a voiceover actor nerd, and so I got this movie specifically to watch it. And by this time I had never been to a convention at this point, and so they also on the second disc of the DVD set they put the panel. They did a panel of the of the all their voice actory stuff, and that was amazing. It was the first opportunity I'd seen to watch voice actors kind of talking about their what they do, and not only that, but also just kind of watch them go. And I was like, oh my god, they're all like me. I was always kind of like, I'm kind of the weird one amongst my fellow theater major bunch, and I was like, my people. And then I
feel you need to lead these people to anything? Like there was something inside of you to compel them to do something, to follow you as some sort of beacon?
You're really on the compelling thing.
Compelled. Yeah, well...
But no, I mean, it was very endemic to me. I'll just put it that way. And I would show that part of that, the panel of them on the on the voice acting panel to other fellow theater majors. I would show it to them, and they would be like, "Wow, that they're all like you." And that was a moment where I was like, "Wow, okay, clearly this is an area, this is an arena in which I belong." So that was definite. That was a big one.
What's your favorite character to go to? Who's got the most power, the most hold on you?
Most hold on me. One of my definite go-tos is probably Gilbert Gottfried.
Okay.
Because that one just came out of me one day. I didn't even work on that one.
That's very ironic, because I remember one event you and I went to at a poetry slam. I shouted out randomly, you should do Shakespeare in the voice of Gilbert Gottfried, I believe.
Yeah, that's right, and I could have, and I decided not to in the moment, but I
easily could have, because that's not hard. What light through yonder window breaks? It is the east, and Juliet is the sun. I've heard that she's a sun, if you can believe it. Arise, fair sun, and kill the envious moon, who's already sick and pale with grief about art thou her maid not far more fair than she.
Man, that guy's got a very true, unnatural voice to him.
Yeah. That's not even how he naturally talks, actually.
Like the actual Gilbert Gottfried, if you actually listen to him talking, he really just kind of talks like this.
Yeah, I've heard him on some radio stations.
Yeah,
before.
He just talks like this. It's not really... It's still the same placement, but he's not pushing the texture so much.
But then when he gets into his act, it really pushes it.
That's
from the diaphragm, from the throat, maybe from the soul.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to get the soul of Gilbert and the soul of somebody who's going to...
So the soul of Gilbert, the soul of Gilbert may in fact be inside of you?
Well, I haven't Shang Tsung'd his ass, if that's what you're asking, on a Mortal Kombat level, but...
Could you if you wanted to?
No, I always play with Liu Kang.
Okay. So you play the guy that died.
Yes, I played the guy that died.
What a loser!
Oopsie doodle.
Oopsie doodle indeed. You gotta play Sub-Zero. Sub-Zero dies but never dies.
That's true. But then Scorpion's already dead.
Scorpion dies but stays dead.
Right.
But then he's just bad enough to stay dead but still be here.
Right.
Meanwhile, if I die, I'm just gonna be like, okay, cool, dead. He's gonna be like, I'm dead. I'm gonna kill you afterwards.
Exactly.
And that takes a lot. That takes a lot to say, I'm gonna kill you after I'm dead. Such as, a possession, maybe.
Get over here! One
Yeah.
of the great original voice clips for a video game.
I think that's one of two that really harkens back to me is Get Over Here and Hadouken.
Yeah.
I mean, those two are...
But now video games are way more voice acted.
Dramatically. I mean, just a simple punch. They have like the weak punch has its own voice.
No, totally.
Actually, nowadays they probably have their own six.
Although we'll see how much longer that goes. I don't know if you know too much about the news in terms of the interactive contract for SAG-AFTRA.
No, what's going on there?
Well, okay. SAG-AFTRA, for those who do not know, is the union that represents actors, all actors in film, in TV, and voice for that matter.
Okay.
There used to be 2 unions, and then they recently, within the last 7 or so years, merged into one. So SAG-AFTRA, that's the actors union. They have been in negotiation, or were attempting to do negotiation with game publishers, like the major companies, for the new interactive contract, which is to say the new contract for any interactive jobs. Interactive as any kind of video game-based voiceover job. And the game publishers walked away from the negotiating table completely.
Wow.
And because they did that, and the terms that the game publishers were, demanding, and by walking away from the negotiation table saying it's this or nothing, were so onerous, SAG-AFTRA went back to their. It wasn't the entirety. It wasn't like every union actor in Hollywood. This vote was. I think it was only amongst those who had done interactive work within like the last 3 years or something like that. 3 to 5 years. So specifically voice actors were particularly voting within the union on this about authorizing a strike.
There was the writer's strike at one point.
There was a writer's strike in 2007.
So now we're working towards...
So in this, when the writers went on strike, the writers were going on strike against the producers union, AMPTP. And that was a Hollywood, within Hollywood battle. In this case, if SAG goes on strike, it's not against the movie people. It's not against any of the producers in Hollywood. It's against the game makers. And this strike authorization vote happened very recently at the beginning of this month, and the authorization vote came in. It was 96.5% yes to authorize to strike. That doesn't mean they're going to strike right now. Now SAG-AFTRA is saying to the game makers, okay, see this? We can strike your asses. Now let's get back to the table, please, and let's negotiate. So that's kind of where we're at. So we don't know what's going to happen next, whether the game publishers are going to come back to the negotiation table or whether they're going to be huge jackasses about it. But yeah, there's the possibility of voice actors going on strike against video games.
Wow. I hope that doesn't happen, but at the same time, that could mean for a major boom for the indie industry.
Well, possibly, but I mean, the fact of the matter is, it's if SAG goes on strike, they're going to be like, nobody do any interactive anything, and for that matter, I mean, I'm actually not in the union yet. I'd like to be someday, and the fact that I'd like to be in the union someday means I'm not about to be a scab. I'm not going to cross a picket line. If the picket line forms, I will not cross it, unequivocally.
Okay.
And frankly, I support what they're doing. I don't know if you didn't know about this, so you didn't know about what the terms are.
No, that was my next question.
I was going to tell you. Yeah, let me tell you. Whew, let me tell you what was going on. These are the things that the actors were asking for. There's the things that the actors are asking for, and then there are a few things that the game makers are asking for. And wait till you hear the difference between these things.
Lay it on me, brother.
So okay. So first and foremost, and this is the thing that probably gets the most negative attention, most negative against the actors' attention, they are trying to get some... I mean, there's no residual structure to video games. Residuals, for those who do not know, is something that where if a television show or a commercial, or sometimes with a film, if it gets broadcast again after it's original broadcasting, there is a secondary payment that is paid out to the actor as long as it's a union job and it's a union contract. There's a secondary payment paid out to the actor, usually half the original amount of whatever they were paid, and then
as long as it continues to
be airing, then there will be continual residual payments. Again, gradually decreasing until, of course, ironically, the famous thing about the residual check that's only a few cents. It costs more to cash it than it is actually to collect the money. Yeah. But that's the joke of residual payments. There's no residual structure in video games, obviously, because it doesn't take the form of broadcast, so there's no tracking that. Okay. So it's just a buyout job where you do your voice acting, and then no matter how whatever middling amount of money it makes to whatever huge amount of money the video game makes, you still get that one middling amount. You probably even paid scale, which is to say minimum wage in acting for your work.
No, thank you.
And so there has been no form of residual or bonus or anything from a really successful game, and the actors are negotiating to try and get a bonus payment.
Not to take a side, but just throwing it, if this is something that's added to the list of reasons, is GameStop resells games.
Right.
Old games. A lot of small stores, such as old rental places, will sell games.
Right.
Does that come into
it? Does not. It does not. Generally speaking, when they track game sales, they track new sales.
I figured as much. I just wanted to confirm that.
Yeah, no, there's no tracking resales, which is actually one of the reasons that game companies fucking hate stores like GameStop.
Well,
because they
can't
really
track it. You can't monetize it in a way that actually is fair. And what I also think is very bad is those game companies or game sales companies. I apologize. They could resell the game at an unfair rate with no one else to judge and monitor them.
Potentially, although to be fair, if they were to sell a used game at the price of a new game level, they're not going to get it. It would be very unlikely.
Well, let's look at the last 5 years. The last 5 years, it's gone up and up and
Well,
up.
it is interesting to see some of, like, if you go into some of those like nostalgia video game stores where they still have like Super Nintendo games on the shelves.
$30. I found.
I saw Final Fantasy III for Super Nintendo being sold for $60 still right now.
Ridiculous.
But I mean that at that point, when you're talking Super Nintendo, that's so old at this point that now you're really just paying for a collectible. You're paying for
and the gamble of if it even works.
Right. Exactly. Right, because it's still a piece of technology that's so old at this point. It's not like they're making new copies of a Super Nintendo cartridge. But anyway, so they're trying to get a payment that will activate when the game's sale reaches a certain level, which at this point the actors are suggesting at 2 million. So if it sells 2 million copies, bonus payment. Sells another 2 million, another bonus payment. Sells another 2 million to 6 million, another bonus payment, and then at 8 million, last bonus payment. If it goes higher than 8 million, there's no more other bonus payments.
It's locked right there.
Correct.
That's where the scale ends.
So there's that's what they're suggesting. And the bonus payment, if I'm not mistaken, is $3,300, which is not even that large in the grand scheme of things. But that was the amount that they suggested.
Well, that leads me to wonder about the pay scale of the people who develop the game, the people who sit there with the code. Because I've heard similar talks.
I'll get to that. That's a significant thing to talk about. But store that one away. We'll get back to that part of the topic. So that's one of the things the actors are asking for. Another thing the actors are asking for is shorter sessions on vocally strenuous work.
Well, that just sounds like common sense for something like this.
Correct.
That sounds like something you shouldn't push.
Correct.
You get poor quality if you push them too hard. You get frustrated tones in their voice.
Yep.
You get someone who really needs to rub one out and get that stress out, and you need to give them that time to rub it out.
Absolutely.
Which I'm sure you're completely aware of.
Between every audition. But
see, I know shit.
That's how I center myself. It's like cleansing the palate.
It's not like. It's cleansing a palate. You have multiple palates.
But in truth, I mean, video games in particular are all about, death noises and yelling and screaming and all that kind of jazz. So it's obviously
a lot of little clips that aren't even 3 seconds long.
Right. But all of them are at high level, top range of your voice, Move over there! Okay, we're gonna do them! So, a lot of that kind of stuff. Imagine doing that for 4 hours. A 4-hour session of that.
I don't want to. The thought of it's already tiring me out.
So they want vocally strenuous work, because not all video game voiceover is like that. Quite a bit of it is straight dialogue. But that kind of work should only be 2 hours long. Because these actors, when they do these kinds of sessions, they lose their voices. They can't work for a few days.
That just sounds reasonable, and beyond that, just good business sense.
Yeah. So there's that. Here's another one. In motion capture, which is now becoming all the more common in video games, mocap, even to the point of
they're even having the voice actors.
Even have the voice actors doing the mocap work. Last of Us, praised to the high heavens for its performances from Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson. they did not just do the voices; they also did the mocap work, just like Know the North and everybody on Uncharted. They're recording the
No
voice
one
work.
knoweth you, slut.
Yep. Well, yeah, especially in Last of Us in particular. But
Giggity.
but yeah, so in mocap, there's no stunt coordinator. And some of the stuff that they're doing in these mocap sessions
Jump off this
are
random
freaking
styrofoam
stunts!
block while holding this bayonet
Yes!
rifle. Yeah.
And there's nobody, watching out for that stuff. So they want stunt coordinators on these things. Again, that seems like some reasonable ass shit.
Okay.
So there's number 3. Here's another one.
All right.
Some of these projects, they won't tell you what the project is ahead of time.
Okay.
They come at you with fake names and fake specs, and and so it's actually not possible sometimes to know ahead of time what type of work it's going to end up being. You may go in thinking you're going to be doing, primarily dialogue session, and no, it's all death screams. And or maybe maybe you have a moral objection to the material. It's possible.
It sounds very depressing.
Right.
If I look at my schedule and see that kind of stuff, I keep thinking about the quality of my voice over the next several days, not just the quality of this recording.
So the fact that voice actors would like to be able to say, I want to make an informed decision about what projects I'm auditioning for and thusly go out for, that again also strikes me as some pretty reasonable stuff. Those are the bulk of the voice actor, interest, the demands of the interactive contract. Here's a couple of things that the game makers want. They want to be able to fine the talent $2,500 for being late or being quote-unquote distracted by anything in the middle of the session.
So if someone...
Like if they check their phone or if they're talking to each other.
Oh, fuck, I've checked my phone 30 times while I'm sitting here in the podcast with you.
I know. And I can hear the difference. No, but no, really you can't. Obviously, because... God damn it, you're a professional.
Well, I need to look at porn while I do the podcast. It's part of my artistic.
Exactly,
way.
It's how you make your instrument work. But yeah, they want.
I love that one.
They want to fine $2,500 to the talent if they judge that, and that's more than even the scale session is worth.
Those cunt
They want
nuggets.
to take money from the talent. Basically,
I don't even know what a cunt nugget is.
And
but
then
that's what they
on
are.
top of that. Here it gets worse. This is one that I don't even think they're legally capable of enforcing. They want to be able to fine an agent $50,000 for not sending their talent out on certain types of works like one voice, 1 hour, or ADR, like, death sound works or stuff like that. If they don't send out all their talent for those types of work, they want not only to be able to fine that agency that money, but they also want SAG to revoke that agency's union status so that they don't have the ability to send out their talent on any union work, not even just voiceover, movies, cartoons, commercials, anything.
What the fuck?
And here's why I say that's not even necessarily legally enforceable. That's them talking about finding a party that's not actually privy to the negotiations. The agents are not the actors. Those are separate people, but they're making the actors negotiate on behalf now of the agents in this respect.
So they'd rather make more money outside of actually making a good video game.
Correct.
Is what you're telling me.
Basically.
Bull fucking shit, dick, cock, licking, monkey ball, brain frozen things.
That's exactly verbatim what I went through my head,
Sir,
when I first saw that.
I'm going to clinky to all the voice actors out there who have a sane brain and are not tampered with.
Sure.
No, actually, I think that's a very reasonable
right,
request.
And so again,
beyond reasonable. Now we're just talking about straight up, like, not even politics. We're talking about just people enslaving your future. Let me charge you a buttload of money for not doing exactly what we wanted. And who's to say what the definition of distracted means?
right?
Lawyers can take a single sentence such as, I really like her boobs, as, well, you're going to prison for 5 years for rape. Wait a minute, what? And I say that because that has happened. Now, let me just qualify one thing about this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever had anyone put a laser pointer in a room with you while you're trying to talk? Because I swear to God, that fucks with me so hard.
No, but I don't have that much cat DNA in me, so I'm relatively okay.
Because I just worry about them being like, all right, we need a little extra money. We're running behind.
Oh, God.
And then they just kind of sit outside like...
Fucking I can
beam.
just imagine that bullshit. All they have to do is get the voice actors, cell number, send them a text while they're in the middle of the session, while they're not even in the middle of reading their stuff,
or send a probe out early on to find their sexuality and find exactly what the type is. Have that type sit at a window with no shirt on.
Exactly. There you go. So it's so fucking vague that it's like I said, they're onerous terms, horrible terms, and yet it was at that point that they walked away from the table, as if to say, these are clearly...
Just ignore the notes I'm writing down, and ignore the fact that it says how to get rich and die trying. Oh, man. I'm sorry. Joking aside, that's ridiculous, and I would love to shout at anyone who's out there in this industry, you got Chimmy's got your back. I've got you. From this day forth, God damn, video games. I love you. What are you doing to our people? We cannot enjoy a good quality video game if you're going to take people who are going to make it quality. I'm sorry. I would much rather a character run with bow-legged retardedness as if he has a stick up his ass, as long as the acting to it is fantastic. As long as
And to come back to something that you said earlier about the developers. And this is something... So, because a lot of the online reactions to the discussions about the SAG-AFTRA thing, a lot of online gamers, and let's face it, online gamers talk big. Gamers like to feel like they're big guys on the internet.
Fuck your mother and kill you. I'm gonna 360 no scope you and throw a knife in your friend's head.
Total fucking internet tough guy syndrome par excellence. So they tend.
I have a 1-inch penis.
Exactly, and so they and sadly, that would be what they say, and they'd be exaggerating.
No, that was them thinking that's what a big one is.
Exactly. But so a lot of the reaction has been like, oh, well, the actors, they don't even make the games, they're greedy, blah, 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 blah.
Uncharted!
I know. So right now, Uncharted, the Nathan Drake collection is being like advertised everywhere for freaking PS4. Right?
I threw that as just one of the billion out there that matters. Uncharted. I threw that there because, let's be honest, take away all those the great acting, the great interaction between characters, the great connection you have with the characters. Absolutely. And what do you have? You have a low budget male Lara Croft.
Sure.
In the first one,
with Gears of War gameplay, absolutely,
exactly.
And not that was unpleasant. I love the gameplay of Uncharted. I love those games completely. But yes, those
would
games
I have
in
connected
particular,
to it? Would I have been stuck on the concept of, Nathan Drake and Captain Fillion? That's how I refer to him. I'm sorry.
Right.
They're the same person. Without that, would I have ever had an hour-long conversation at a Chili's with 3 friends about that? No!
Absolutely. And so, like I said, they're got those ads out right now for Nathan Drake Collection. And the main aspect that's really being, I feel like, advertised in these ads is, the cinematics. So the beautiful graphics and the amazing performance of Sully by Richard McGonigal. Bam! That's it. It's all right there. It's like they're... A
long time ago, we used to get gameplay. I remember the Jurassic Park, the first game on the Genesis.
Right.
It just showed, like, the raptor jumping, and then freaking, what's his name, shooting the tranq dart. And then it's like, oh, that looks crazy fun. Now we're get attached to these characters, get scared at every corner, and feel like you could lose.
And that is what acting provides. Now, there's no doubt about it that the developers are key. And I would argue, as a voice actor, developers are more important than the actors. Yes. There's no doubt about that.
Absolutely.
Developers are vastly important. And one of the things that the internet tough guy, video game guys going out there saying, well, this shouldn't be happening, or the actors shouldn't get what they want because the developer, it goes, look what happens to the developers. The developers are so slaved and they're treated so badly. I agree, damn it! They're treated horribly. I have heard some of the worst stories about the way that the developers have to be treated and the way that their labor goes. It's horrible. They're not unionized. That's really unfortunate. It's not a fucking line. The actors aren't cutting in line in front of the developers. In front of the developers to say who's going to get their due piece of the pie to get what they're going for here. And of course, again, the money's like one small part of it. All the other shit was really obvious and necessary. But, just on the whole concept alone of we can't reward the actors because the developers haven't gotten anything yet, that really sucks for the developers. You line up something for the developers to get what they deserve from the companies that are employing them, and I will stand behind that 100%. Unequivocally. I want to see that happen. Yeah. Please go out and do it. We're on your side, developers, so don't be not on our side.
Everyone, just think about that when you're gonna go watch a movie, when you're gonna go see a cartoon with your kids, when you're gonna go get a video game, or when you're just gonna watch anything whatsoever on the web. Just stop and think. There's a voice, and that was an attachment I had as a kid. Is always listening to the characters and thinking, man. First off, the one that stuck me is the fact that someone drew that picture a million times to make it move. And beyond that, it was the fact that someone probably said those lines 12 times before they finally said, that was it. And I always go back to, again, repetitively coming up Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
That man never sits down at a chair and talks into a microphone. That man is up acting out every line he says.
Because even though it's just a voice, it comes from your whole body. Your posture, you can affect the way your voice sounds by bunching your shoulders up into your head, and that's different. It makes a difference. It makes a tangible difference in what you're hearing and how it comes across. And so, yeah, I mean, you're absolutely correct. And so that's something that so there's the developers thing, and then as far as the money thing goes, and people are like, oh, the actors are just greedy.
Of course.
Well, again, like I said,
it's not like your Major League Baseball players asking for a couple million more.
I know. $3,300. Look at the money these things make. That is not a lot.
I know. I can get a lot of lap dances.
But then on top of that, 2 million copies sold. I had a cheat sheet, but I didn't bring it with me, so I'll just go by memory here. Actually, wait, no. I know. I'll get it on my phone. 1 second.
Smartphone intermission.
Here we go. Okay. So here's a Wikipedia page that has,
because this is reliable. Oh no, it is. I'm kidding.
All these have sources here. That has the sales
sources on this show.
Has the sales record for Xbox 360 games.
Okay.
So here I'm going to list for you a number of games that are amongst the best selling on the Xbox 360.
Okay.
Let's see here. Ninja Gaiden 2, Dead or Alive 4, Star Wars: The Force Unleashed, Guitar Hero World Tour, Call of Duty 2, Resident Evil 5, BioShock, Fallout 3, Call of Duty 3, Mass Effect 2, Guitar Hero 3, Legends of Rock, Red Dead Redemption, The Elder Scrolls 4, Oblivion, Assassin's Creed 2.
God, Oblivion. Can you imagine landing Elder Scrolls game?
All of these games I just mentioned they're listed here on this Wikipedia page of the best-selling video games of Xbox 360. All of these video games did not sell 2 million copies. All of them are under 2 million. So all of them would not have triggered the bonus.
Hot shit.
All of them. So, I mean, yes, as I go up, we see even more famous games. Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
Greedy fuckers.
Right?
He says sarcastically.
Gears of War 2, Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare, Batman Arkham City. Yes, these games, obviously the ones I'm mentioning right now, those games sold more than 2 million copies. Those would have triggered the bonus either once or twice, or something like that. But for fuck's sake,
but you layered a lot more than once or twice in that list.
Right. So the point being that all the games I just mentioned are amongst the most significant, highest-selling games of the industry, and even those wouldn't have fucking triggered the goddamn bonus!
He's not at all angry about this.
So that's my point. The argument that it's some sort of horrible greed thing, god damn it, guys, you have to be truly blockbuster, AAA title game selling huge amounts of copies to actually trigger the bonus that the SAG-AFTRA is actually suggesting.
You have to get Robert Downey Jr. or Vin Diesel in those games.
Right. So they're that huge. Wow. So if you're going to sit there and bitch and moan that the actors are like going to put all the video game makers out of business, that is the standard. That's the standard that they're suggesting. A standard that is over Assassin's Creed 2.
Oh god, Assassin's Creed 2. Thank you for selling so well, because now we're stuck with one of you every fucking year.
Right?
And my theory is that I've said this on the air before. They jumped a game. They had one game that was still scheduled for the 360 and the PS3, and they jumped it with Unity to just be right there on spot with the new consoles.
Right.
Which was Unity, which, I'm sorry, was a fucking floppy piece of shit with absolutely
one of the most
beta testing.
One of the most infamous. I was amazed, absolutely astounded at the at the articles I was reading, because it's not a game that I've played. I've
played it from beginning to end with DLC.
So I'm not. I can't speak with any authority in terms of how the Assassin's Creed games play or anything like that. But just looking at these articles alone and seeing the glitches, I was just kind of astounded at
Let me just throw this
incompetence.
This is my official declaration of hating this game. I should not have to say 5 times in every sit down of playing this game to tell my character on screen while I'm in control trying to use the buttons to make him stop that. Mm-hmm. Stop humping that! Stop humping that chair! Stop humping that light post! Get off of that person! Don't hump that person! They haven't given consent. There's no consent! Stop humping that! Kill it! Stop humping it! Kill it!
In this edition of Assassin's Creed, we're going to be playing as a bad dachshund puppy.
Yeah, no joke. I mean, this dude's like a fucking beagle with a heart on. Oh my god! I pray that this new game is actually tested a few times, maybe once or twice. Oh well.
Pray all you want.
No, do you pray?
No, I know. I am culturally Jewish, but religiously agnostic.
Okay. Would you say that there was anything in your life that led to this? Was it just kind of a choice, or did you just feel a natural inclination to lead away from such?
What, from religion? I grew up in a primarily atheist household, but I've never felt any connection to that. I guess
that, as in religion. Can you say what that is? Can you say it out loud?
What, God?
Okay, how'd that feel?
Annoying.
Okay. I'm just gonna lay my cards out because we don't have enough time here. Are you possessed by the characters inside of you? Are you possessed by the cartoon characters inside your soul?
No, that is not how this works. No.
How can you speak in their tongue?
I have a very talented tongue. It works for me. I mean,
can you bring forth at least 5 young ladies that can guarantee that your tongue is talented?
Okay, well now you're hitting me in the hard spot there.
Okay, so what you're telling me is in fact that it is something supernatural inside of you that can in fact bring other people from your body.
Okay,
you are one soul.
I see where this is going. All right. No. I am not possessed, if that's what you're saying.
Well, how do all these characters come out of voice actors? Because voice actors have to have it from somewhere.
Because
How can you be more than one person?
I mean, you just do it. It's in you. It's natural. You just what is that? What is that red liquid that you've got?
It's splash you, bitch! Splash you!
Oh, ugh. Is that? 1 second. Is that? It's a fucking fruit punch?
Ecto Cooler High C. I've been keeping it since the late 90s.
God, it tastes like it.
Ghostbusters can't be wrong.
I suppose Ghostbusters can't be wrong, but look, God,
right, fine.
That's weird.
I'm bringing out the heavy guns. You ready for this?
Okay.
In the name of the Papa Smurf, the Optimus Prime, the Popeye, and the Snorks. The power of Grayskull compels you. The power of Grayskull compels you.
Look, I didn't even watch that show. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's He-Man, Masters of the Universe, man.
No, I know that. I mean, I'm saying I don't know what you're talking about with the. Look, you're freaking me out a little bit right here. You're
the power of Grayskull compels you. The power of Grayskull compels you.
And I've never been so humiliated in all my life.
I knew it. Out, cartoon demon!
Kristaan!
Oh, fuck, we just went to the dark side.
Hold everything! Earth is a protected wildlife reserve. We're using it to rebuild the mosquito population, which, need I remind you, is an endangered species.
What the fuck have I done?
What's up, Doc?
Oh, no. We do not... That is not an evil spirit. Do not tell me Bugs Bunny's an evil spirit.
Well, I mean, I don't know, Doc. They say I'm a trickster spirit. That's what they'd say.
Bugs Bunny is not evil. You take that back!
Oh, gosh. I don't really know what you're talking about, but here I am.
I completely believe that that's evil. That Nazi little fucking mouse is evil. Jesus. Whoa, shit. What's this going on? His eyes are doing a thing.
We're not... Alex isn't here right now.
Okay, I think, ladies and gentlemen, I think I went too far. I think I broke him.
And then you've been hinting at me all night. Welcome to Chimichanga Superstar, the last episode, if I have anything to say about it.
Okay, I'm gonna go to Wikipedia. I'm gonna find how to fix this. Guys, thank you so much for listening tonight. If you like this episode, please like and subscribe. I'm gonna hopefully be back this week. May the awesomeness be with you.